The pitch from Acevedo.
Swung on the line, down the left field line for a base hit.
Fly ball, gap, right center field. And
Double him up at second.
Luke is going back to the 1-8 track. Get out the right, run and Buster Grandma. It is grand salami time.
Will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series for the first time in 24 years.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Light the W podcast. This is episode 178 of the show. Sorry for the late upload, late recording. I'm in Hawaii. We have been enjoying the sun. So, a little bit of a late recording, especially Seattle time. It's 9:31 p.m. here on Wednesday, July 8th. That's Hawaii time, though. So, we're after midnight over in Seattle, which will mean 2 episodes in 2 days, Seattle time, because as always, we'll have that Friday morning episode out for y'all. However, on today's episode, we are going to talk about a few things from Spencer Steer, Everyday Dom Cam Zone, the bullpen, the road trip, and into our favorite 3 segments. We are going to begin, though, very quickly with the beginning of this road trip, because before this road trip, I wrote a 3-3 road trip would be pleasing. They are 0-2. They should have won game 1. In game 2, they just couldn't figure out how to muster up any sort of offense against the guy that they should be able to score runs off of. There is just something off with this team. And whether it's leadership right now in the clubhouse, whether that's leadership in terms of the manager and the coaching staff, whether it is stuff all the way from the ownership to the front office and down. The Mariners have inherent problems. And as much as I believe in this team, there are difficulties seeing how this team is going to step it up, seeing how this team is going to go from a 500 baseball team that they are playing like right now and that they've been playing like all season to a team that goes and dominates this AL West in the second half. A team that goes and wins the American League, a team that goes and fights for a World Series and does damage in the postseason. Look, they're 47-46. Julio Rodriguez is on the injured list right now. Matt Brash is on the injured list right now. Brendan Donovan's been on the injured list for most of this season. Cal Raleigh's either been on the injured list or not performed so far this season. However, Randy Arozarena is an all-star. Cole Young has been unbelievable so far this year, been one of the best second basemen in baseball, and especially in the American League. Colt Emerson came up and was really hot to start and now has cooled off, but has really been a solid defender for this team. And the pitching staff, while up and down, has gotten a breakout season from Emerson Hancock. And Logan Gilbert has finally found back some form here in his past 7, 8, 9 starts. This team has the makings of a World Series team. But this isn't like years past where I would say that and the makings were the core of this team and they needed huge additions. This year it's different. This year it's not that you have the core guys performing and that you need to add guys on top of that. It's that your core guys aren't performing. And whether or not you add guys on top of that, first and foremost, you need your guys to perform. You need Cal Raleigh to figure it out. You need Julio Rodriguez to be Julio Rodriguez. You need Brendan Donovan to be healthy. You need Josh Naylor to perform on both sides of the ball. It's not just a simple fix, right? There are multiple things that need to be better, need to be improved, need to be righted to make this ship overall right its course. It's simple, but it's not. And I think that's the hard part right now, is that we're seeing the makings of why we believe so much in this team, why we believe so much in this roster, why we believe they can go do things that this organization has never been able to achieve. But in order to achieve those things, you need some stuff to happen. You need this bullpen to figure it out. You need your guys to figure it out. You need your starting pitching to be the consistent elite rotation that you expect it to be. And that includes Brian Wu on the road. That includes George Kirby each and every start. That includes very likely Luis Castillo going to the bullpen. The piggyback, the six-man rotation. It's time for it to be done. Because you can't keep switching stuff up day of games. Whether it's the guys agreeing to do it or not. It's bad optics. And you can't tell me that each and every one of those guys on that roster agrees that not knowing what to expect every day is a positive thing. For us as viewers, but us as content creators, that's a negative thing. Them as players, it has to be a negative thing. Baseball is a game of habit. It's a game of failures, but it's a game of having your routine and believing in yourself. Baseball players are superstitious. They have to find that form. And it's not going to come from the Mariners making deadline acquisitions. It's not going to come from them trading for Byron Buxton. That's not a realistic option. It might not come from them going and trading for Aroldis Chapman. It doesn't seem like that's going to be a reasonable option. There are guys out there, but there is nobody that can turn this ship around. Right now, you're on a completely different ocean that you want to be on. You need to find the route that fits you. You need to figure out, how does this team play? What is our identity as a team? Until then, this is a 500 baseball team. That's what they've shown to be. You've been good at home. You've struggled on the road. How do you find form on the road? How do you find form for yourself? What changes do you got to make here at this All-Star break next week so that this team can go do the things they want to do? Can you make a trade here at the beginning of July? Maybe into the middle of July soon. Or do you fire Dan Wilson? Do you can him? Dan the man becomes Dan the can. Something needs to change. Because very clearly this team doesn't have it. And yes, you have time because this division is so crap. But figure it out and figure it out soon. All right, let's move on to the deadline quickly. Spencer Steer. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds. This is a team that has really struggled. This is a team that has done what the Mariners have done in not finding form and not living up to expectations. But they have done it in a much worse way. They're in last place in their division, the NL Central right now. They're 7 games below 500 at 42 and 49, and they are one of the worst teams in the National League overall. Only teams in the National League with a worse record than the Cincinnati Reds right now are the New York Mets, the San Francisco Giants, and the Colorado Rockies. The Reds seem as though they're going to be sellers, and Spencer Steer is a name that has been talked about a lot recently by Mariners fans. And it's been talked about for good reason. This is a guy that at 28 years old has 2.5 years of control, is versatile with the ability to play both corner outfield spots, both corners on the infield, as well as second base. He's a right-handed hitter that the Mariners need, and he has crushed left-handed pitching this year with a 177 WRC+. It's a career 124 WRC+ overall against left-handed pitching. However, overall, this has not been a super quality player. He's been about a win or a win and a half as a player overall for the Reds. He had the real breakout season back in 2023, but a 98 WRC+ in 24, a 97 in 25, and currently running around a league average at 99. And you look at the 177 WRC plus this year against left-handed pitching, you think, okay, well, he's basically just a platoon bat for you. However, you're not going to be paying for a platoon bat. And if you're going and getting a platoon bat, you want a guy that over the course of his career has been able to do that. And yes, it's a career 124 WRC plus. But last year it was a 98 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. And in 2024, it was an 89 WRC plus against left-handed pitching. Not only is that worse than, of course, 77% above league average, that's below average. That's 11% below average. That's Cole Young. That's Josh Naylor against left-handed pitching. If you're going and acquiring a guy to go hit left-handed pitching for the most part, you want him to be able to hit left-handed pitching. You can think of Steer kind of like a version of Brendan Donovan from the right side, a guy that's versatile, that's not super great as a defender at any one of those spots. Like, that's not how he's going to bring his value. He has a couple years of control here, but he's also different, right? You think about who he is as a hitter. He's a 20-ish home run guy at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. He only hits about 235, strikes out 21% of the time with only a 10% walk rate. That's league average. This guy doesn't do any particular thing very good, and that includes in a ballpark that inflates offensive stats. You'd be going from Great American Ballpark to T-Mobile Park. So after I looked at his splits against left-handed pitching, I went and looked at his splits home versus road. And this is where, to me, Spencer Steer just doesn't even make sense for this team because of the cost. His away splits are atrocious. An 88 WRC plus overall away from Great American Ballpark this year. And against lefties on the road, it's just a 118 WRC plus. You look at last year, 59 at-bats on the road against left-handed pitching. He had just a 41 WRC plus. Really, really bad. Look, there are things to like overall about Spencer Steer, right? His age. He's just 28 years old. He has 2.5 years of control. That's great. He's versatile, being able to play both corner outfield spots. He's a right-handed hitter. And his splits right now against left-handed pitching have been great this year with a 177 WRC plus. But there's a real possibility that if the Mariners were to go get this guy, T-Mobile Park would eat him alive. His splits away from Cincinnati are atrocious, abysmal. And the trade cost to go get this guy, I don't think would make sense for this Mariners team. Prices are inflated at the deadline, especially for hitters and especially for right-handed hitters at this deadline. And for a guy with 2.5 years of control, there aren't that many guys that are going to be on the market potentially with that, if this guy's even on the market. And for Cincinnati, he's an everyday player. Well, the Mariners would be playing everyday player, average everyday player price with control, with youth to a point for him to become a platoon guy for this team. It just, to me, the dominoes don't really line up there for that to happen. It's not a very good hand you're being dealt with Spencer Steer. Now, if you're going and getting Spencer Steer for a reasonable cost, like, obviously none of these top 10 guys, but you go and give them a flyer type of prospect go and give them, Michael Morales and a couple other pieces, right? Like, let's go look at the Mariners top 30 prospects right now and just sort of sort together something that could potentially make sense for the Mariners specifically. Like, what is the highest guy that you're willing to give up? Look at that pipeline here. Of your prospects, who does it make sense? Kate Anderson, obviously no. Ryan Sloan, obviously no. Laz Montez, obviously no. Michael Arroyo, no. Johnny Farmelo, no. So that's through the top 5. For the Reds to trade this guy, you'd have to give them a piece that they're like, yeah, we think that he could become Spencer Steer. Right? So who do the Mariners have that makes sense for the Reds? For Spencer Steer. A guy that when you look at his baseball savant page, he can barrel the ball up, and he has done that this year. He limits his chase. He's league average in whiff, league average in strikeout, if not slightly below league average. He's not a good defender. He walks about league average. He's put up a 700 OPS, though, the past 3 seasons. And he has 2.5 years of control. What are the Mariners willing to give up? What are you willing to give up? Does Mason Peters fit in that? The guy that hasn't been healthy lately, right? Like, to me, it's just hard to see how the Mariners and Reds line up on this deal when it just doesn't feel like it makes sense. Does Teddy McGraw fit the Reds? Griffin Hughes, Corbin Dickerson. Would you trade Corbin Dickerson for Spencer Steer? Probably. Okay, let's start there. Corbin Dickerson alongside Teddy McGraw, Griffin Hughes, right? Go trade them 3 10 to 15 range prospects for you. Does that make sense? Do you go trade Corbin Dickerson and Mason Peters? What fits right now? You're not trading Colt, Sloan, Cade, Johnny, Laz, Arroyo, Felny, Stevenson, Bautista. You're not going to trade Becker. I don't think you would trade Juan Rijo. So you go from there, right? Like who fits? Mason Peters, Corbin Dickerson. Do you do a 2-for-1 deal there? I mean, maybe, to be honest. But do the Reds do that? You have to get them to bite a little bit. I don't think it happens. So the Reds are a trade partner that to me could make sense, especially with bullpen arms. But they don't make sense. And Spencer Steer, to me, doesn't make sense. So he's not going to be a guy I talk about at this deadline personally. Let's talk about Dom Canzone. Adam Jude released an article a couple days ago talking about Dom Canzone and that he is now an everyday designated hitter for this team. And all I got to say is let's freaking go. It has been time. He's 6th in WRC plus in baseball. He's 6th in barrel percent in baseball. 155 WRC plus. He's been a stud over the past year plus. Mariners are finally showing some trust in their guys, in their gun. They can do it. He's going to get the opportunity now to prove that he's an everyday guy, and this is his shot. Right? That's the good. That's the great. That's the positive. They're showing their belief, and this guy has the opportunity to go and crush it. However, there is the possibility he could struggle. There is the possibility he loses some confidence. There is the possibility that his bat against not only right-handed pitching is going to, or not only left-handed pitching is going to struggle, but his bat against right-handed pitching might struggle. And this affects their deadline plans. Are they going to go chase a legit bat that can hit left-handed pitching? Right? Or is this a thing where, yeah, we can pose ourselves as not needing it because Dom Canzone can go do it? Right? There are multiple things. Think about that Nightingale article last week. Mariners talked about how they're not going to be ultra aggressive. Well, yeah, that's probably true, but also that's posing yourself. That's making it so that you're not showing that you're desperate. You don't need necessarily this guy. Get other teams to bite a little bit at your package. Mariners are going to make moves. I'll tell you that much. They're going to make at least 2 moves, I would assume. But Dom Canzone being an everyday player is a great thing that has been needing to happen. All right, let's move on again. Let's talk about the bullpen. Matt Brash supposed to come back around the deadline, allegedly, maybe slightly after, probably slightly after. And when he comes back, this cannot be a guy you rely on. This is a guy that has had a hard time staying healthy so far this year, and he's going to be very limited in terms of how often he pitches when he comes back. That, along with Andres Munoz only being a 9th inning guy, and Spire being somewhat limited throughout this season, the Mariners are going to be short bullpen arms, especially if they continue with this 6-man rotation, and they are going to need guys. So you saw in Game 1 against the Marlins, their lack of depth. Who was pitching in the 10th inning? I don't even need to say it. Gabe Spire had to just work through his struggles and barely scraped away in a tie game. Look, Andres Munoz looks like himself again. But when a starter goes 5 innings and this offense doesn't produce 7 runs, 6 runs, they have a hard time figuring out how to win games. And you're going to really struggle to win games in extra innings. And that is a problem. You need bullpen acquisitions. You need additions. And that needs to be a laser focus at this deadline is improve the bullpen. Get a guy that is a mid to high leverage guy and get a legit high leverage guy. Go get yourself a Garrett Whitlock plus something else. Multiple arms. They have really struggled to go and get multiple arms at any deadline and any offseason. And now is your opportunity to go do that. Go get the arms. Go take advantage of the opportunity. It's now or never. Again, big road trip here for the Mariners. Big series this weekend. You got to figure out a way to get something positive out of it. How do you scrape away 3-3 on this road trip? How do you manage to win a series against the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa Bay? It is not going to be easy. But find a way. Show some guts. Show some fight. It's time to do it. Let's move on.
This is Around the Horn. 4 updates on Major League Baseball over the past week.
Okay. Miami Marlins, red hot, 7-3 in their last 10, as are the Chicago Cubs. They're 8-2 in their last 10 on a 3-game winning streak and up to 52-40. The 4th best record in the National League. Looking over at the American League, Orioles continue to scuffle. The A's continue to scuffle. They are now 10 games below 500 and 1-9 in their last 10 and on a 5-game losing streak. Houston Astros starting to pick up form. They're only 5-5 though in their last 10 and still 3 games below 500. Mariners still sit in first place, as do the White Sox, who are 4-6 in their last 10. And the Mariners again have the Rays this weekend, who have a 2-game win streak going and are 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Yankees continue to scuffle 2-8 in their last 10 and are now 50-42. Mariners again have a huge opportunity here in this American League. They got to go and take advantage at this deadline because you know the teams around them are going to do so. Let's move on again. Welcome to Down on the Farm, your weekly segment talking about the Mariners farm system over the past week. Let's talk promotions. Laz Montez, Michael Arroyo have been promoted. Montez yet to have a hit, but he's been showing off his glove out in the corner outfield spot, specifically right field. This is a guy with a huge arm, a guy with huge power. It's a swing and miss stuff. This promotion can be a real test for him. He's going to see better breaking balls. He's going to see guys that are going to be more savvy with how they pitch him, and it's going to be a big test. Again, yet to have a hit. He showed mature at bats. He showed mature approach. But how does he cut down the swing and miss? How does he hit breaking balls? How does he hit fastballs? How does he hit guys that pitch him backwards, pitch him forwards, pitch him all around? Are able to hit the corners, right? How does he manage to deal with that? Guys that are unpredictable. It's a real big test for him. For Michael Arroyo, he's going to be playing in the outfield more. This is a big opportunity for him to show that he can be a right-handed bat that can go and play in a corner outfield spot and has the ability to use his hit tool to his advantage. Look, he's not at the major league level. He can't prove that he can do it at the major league level. But if you go show that spark, go show you can do it in AAA, go rake down in Tacoma, force the Mariners' hand, be that September call-up, right? This is an opportunity for Michael Arroyo to make his future for this Mariners team, for this Mariners organization. And these are 2 guys that are going to have to be put on the 40-man should they still be in the Mariners organization come this offseason. And that's a big deal because guys that are not on the 40-man can go and train down in Arizona. These 2 guys, once they're placed on the 40-man roster, cannot go and train down in Arizona. They cannot be training with the team. Everything they do has to be on their own. So this is a huge opportunity for them here on July 8th through the rest of this season to go make their mark, go prove that they should be a part of the Mariners' future. And hopefully they don't get traded because these are 2 really fun guys to talk about, 2 really fun guys to see go down to Tacoma, right? How often do we actually have a reason to go down there? But now you do. Be excited. go see what they can do. And hopefully they absolutely tear it up. And last month says it's 40 home runs in the second half. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening again. Sorry for the late upload. Me and Jeff will be back Friday morning, hopefully on the back of getting a win in Game 3 in Miami. If not, it's going to be Ken Dan Chance, I believe, all episode. Obviously, the All-Star break begins next week. We'll see what we're doing for that. But it's obviously going to be talk around the draft, talk around the All-Star game. It's going to be a blast. Till then, though, make sure you tune into every episode Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Till then, go Emps. Peace.